The heart beat on with an unconscious rhythm, but no response came from it and no cry. So it looks like an illusion, the whole thing. You see. Now, my say, I think this is a question of our difficulty. Emotions left, feelings seemed quiescent, heartstrings could no more work, grief, etc., etc. All these things were absent totally. There was no sense, there was no seeing, there was no sight. Then how did the yogi see all these things? He is going that part, how is he seeing? With what faculty he is seeing? It only means that it didn't have the instruments of nature because it was self-seeing. He had identified, he had become one with that. It was self-sight. We need eyes to see. But the whole makeup is such that it sees by itself. The heart beat on with an unconscious rhythm, but no response came from it and no cry. Vain was the provocation of events. Nothing within answered an outside touch. No nerve was stirred and no reaction rose. So he has become kind of mute, dumb, insensitive to all those things. Nothing is reaching that thing at all. Vain was the provocation of event. So the world war is going on, all those great calamities are happening, but it does not provoke him at all. No nerve was stirred. But then why did Sri Aurobindo participate in the Second World War? Why was he worried about Cripp's mission to succeed? Huh? Why, you see? Yeah, because he was aware that that is not the end by itself. He has a work to do. That awareness is there, that work to do. And therefore, he does not remain unprovoked, so to say, by these events. He takes necessary action when necessary for the purposes of doing his work. Provocation in that sense. He intervened at crucial moments. The only thing which he didn't do was, he didn't intervene at the time of the partition of India. Nothing within answered an outside touch. No nerve was stirred and no reaction rose. Possibly he has done in his own way also for that. Possibly he has done in his own way. See, in his message of 15th August 1947, he speaks of a possible danger of invasion on India. We of course witnessed in 1964 the Chinese invasion of the Himalayas. But that was relatively short. But I think a greater danger is arising. Now the Chinese people are making a big tunnel through Mount Everest and producing a 500-kilometer railway line in the Himalayas, bordering Nepal and India, you see. So that danger is there, you see. Yet still her body saw and moved and spoke. It understood. You see, he says, body, not her mind, not her heart, what is seeing, the physical. It is there now the focus is coming. It is now there the focus is coming. Yet still her body saw and moved and spoke. It understood without the aid of thought. It said whatever needed to be said. It did whatever needed to be done. So it is directly now the response of the body. It does not need the faculty of heart, it does not need the faculty of thought, of brain. Body itself is directly responding. Whatever has to be done, will be done by the body. There was no person there behind the act, no mind that chose or passed the fitting word, all wrought like an unerring apt machine. As if continuing old habitual terms of the body. Those are as if continuing, and pushed by an old, unexhausted force, the engine did the work for which it was made. Her consciousness looked on and took no part. All it applied, in nothing had a share. There was no strong initiator will. She is not going to exercise her will at all. An incoherence crossing a firm void slipped into an order of related chance. Now this is a little complex sentence. There was no strong initiative will. You see, it's the will which can organize things, can remove incoherence. Can control chance. But that is not there now. The body saw and moved and spoke. Body's own consciousness emerges, not the thought and mind. Pure body consciousness in the nirvanic experience. So it is because everything is there gone. Mother says, I have sent away my mind, the vital. It's the body which is not going to respond directly. The body has to respond directly. All had to disappear before it could gleam out. It followed its law, its habits, as there was no external influence to influence, no mind, no heart, only body. The body has to make, in other words, here the foundation of the yoga of transformation, physical transformation, is this one. All the other things have to disappear, and it is directly the body which must respond. Therefore, what we have here is pure perception, untouched by the vital, by the mental. Pure perception was the only power that stood behind her action and her sight. So how does she know? Everything has gone away. So it is that pure perception. Self-sight, self-seeing, it is that which comes here. If that retired, all objects would be extinct. So her body is there because of that pure perception, her physical. If that pure perception also disappears, even the body also disappears with that. If that retired, all objects would be extinct. Her private universe would cease to be. The house she had built with bricks of thought and sense. Thought and sense is what we had. In the beginning, after the birth of space. That is how the mental beings are formed, Manomaya Purusha, after the birth of space, by thought and sense. Thought, the mental mind, and thought or mind, manasa, is a primary sense. We have got 5 senses. 5 organs of perception, 5 senses. The primary sense is the manasa, the mind behind mind, and all the other 5 senses are projections of that sense. So, with the manasa, with the mental being, all that was built, that has disappeared. Her private universe would cease to be in the beginning after the birth of space. This seeing was an identical with the seen. So the relationship between the object and the observer, that has disappeared. It is not that the observer is seeing the object, it is not that the object is projecting itself on the cognition of the observer. It's not the object which is throwing on you, or it is not that you are seeing an object. All that has disappeared. You have become one with the object. Identity. The house she had built with bricks of thought, the seeing was identical with the seen. It knew without knowledge all that could be known. By direct identification. It saw impartially the world go by, but in the same supreme, unmoving glance, saw too the abysmal unreality. What is this? This is unreality of dream, of image, of illusion. She sees all that thing now here. Because she has now only the pure perception. It is because that pure perception she is able to see all that immediately. This seeing was identical with the seen. It was the figure of the cosmic game, but the thought and inner life in form seemed dead, abolished by her own collapse of thought. A hollow physical shell persisted still. So what is she now? Her physical body, it is a shell. There is nothing in it now. Just the outer shell. Well, so don't be afraid of it. Hollow physical shell, what are we? Nothing has gone. It's good. You have to empty out all that. Yeah. Yeah. This is most important. So what happened is, emotion hastened on the sound track of a dream. Okay, we'll see that. It was the figure of the cosmic game, but the thought and inner life in form seemed dead. Everything is gone now. Abolished by her own collapse of thought, a hollow physical shell. Hollow because everything has gone now. Inner life, thought, everything has gone away. Therefore it has become hollow. You see. It seemed a brilliant shadow of itself. Obviously now that shell is now only what? It's only a shadow of something, bright shadow of something. A cosmic film of scenes and images. So a movie picture is there and you're seeing that thing. A cosmic film of scenes and images. The enduring mass and outline of the hills was a design sketched on a silent mind and held to tremulous false solidity by constant beats of visionary sight. So it is by constantly seeing that thing as if you see it is an object, it's not there. By constant beats of visionary sight. The forest and its emerald multitudes, the green trees, clothed with its show of hues, vague, empty space, a painting's colors hiding a surface void that flickered upon disillusion's edge. The blue heavens, an illusion of the eye. So what is a blue heaven after all? It is just an illusion of the eye. Roofed in the mind's illusion of a world. Blue heaven, which is an illusion of the eye. So blue heaven roofed in the mind's illusion. So the heaven, that blue heaven is acting like a roof for the illusion of mind. Because it's pure perception. Blue heaven, an illusion of that. So this you can ignore for a minute. So blue heaven, roofed in, covered, put a canopy like this. In the mind's illusion of a world. Then, the men who walk beneath an unreal sky seem mobile puppets out of a cardboard cut and pushed by unseen hands across the soil or moving pictures upon fancy film. There was no soul within, no power of life. Yeah, it's an empty picture. Emotion hasten on the soundtrack of a dream. The murmur of a drifting hue in felicitous air. A nearness drew closer, yet in the mystic hush, as if emerald or the invisible sea deepened into trueness of the seen and the heard. A hollow physical shell persisted still. Thought life gone, but the physical is still there. It's the response of the physical now. In fact, that is the foundation of the Mother's Yoga. But in the same supreme unmoving glance, all seemed a brilliant shadow of itself. Brilliant shadow. Very beautiful phrase, no? Brilliant shadow. In literary parlance, it is called oxymoron. The two opposites coming together, oxymoron. Brilliant shadow, you see. It is a shadow, yeah. Her body is a brilliant body. But after all, it's a shadow of something else. So you have got a very beautiful example of oxymoron here. Now, the examples of this brilliant shadow are what we have got here. The cosmic dream or design sketch, hair tremulous. The examples are forest with its emerald multitude, paintings, colors, blue heaven. They are examples of that brilliant shadow, you see. Even the puppet is also, here, seeing a mobile puppet is also a part of that brilliant shadow, cut out of cardboard and fancy film. Now, there is a little problem here, I don't know. See, you ignore this phrase here for a minute. The blue heavens roofed in the mind's illusion of a world. So what it means basically is, blue heavens roofed in the mind's illusion. Is it like that? Or it is blue heavens roofed in the mind's illusion? What do we have in roofed in? Means he is covering, he is giving a cover, like a roof, he is providing a roof. So mind is, so blue heaven is providing a cover to mind's illusion. This is what it means. But blue heavens roofed in the mind's illusion.
The illusion of the world, but which is done by the mind. The mind
what is blue heaven? It's mind's illusion. Yeah, it's possible, you see. Yeah.
So tell us.
Yeah. No, this is very tricky situation, you see. Like that, you have at times, as you purposely added, such intricacies of the language. Blue heaven roofed in a mind's illusion. Yeah, it's possible. Because paintings, colors, clothes, etc., are all part of that shadow, you see. It is not, see what business Blue Heaven has to provide a roof to mind. Why should it bother?
He said Blue Heaven,
Blue Heavens,
Blue Heaven also illusion of the eyes.
huh?
Blue Heaven, an illusion of the eyes.
Yeah.
So already the...
No, that is the clarification. An illusion of the eye. After all, Blue Heaven itself is an illusion of the eye. And that is now roofing in mind's illusion.
Means he replaced the illusion of the mind.
Yeah.
But it's still illusion.
I would go, the Blue Heaven is roofed in the eyes of the mind, in the illusion of the mind.
In the illusion of the
Yeah.
mind, yes.
Yeah. Blue Heaven is roofed in the illusion of the mind, in the mind's illusion.
But it's also illusion.
Yeah.
It's written illusion.
So you have to correct your French translation. The men who walk beneath an unreal sky, because everything is now illusion, therefore unreal sky, seem mobile puppets out of cardboard cut. So what are we? Cardboard puppets. Tom and Jerry cartoons of Disneyland. And pushed by unseen hand across the soil or moving pictures upon fancy film. There was no soul within, no power of life. Obviously, the brain's vibrations that appear like thought, the nerves' brief answer to each contact's knock, the heart's quiverings felt as joy and grief and love were twitching to the body. So brain, nerve, heart, after all, what is it? They are twitching to the body. The seeming cell, the body forced from the atoms and formed gas, a manufactured lie of Maya's make. Is life a dream seen by the sleeping void?